Because she's acting like she saw him in between some legs.
But the truth of the matter is, she's acting like that because he's not in between her legs.
Oh, I see what you did there.
You see what I did there? Hey my loves, welcome back to our channel. Thank you so much for joining us again. I'm your girl Intisar Eleanor. This is my beautiful husband Joe.
Hey.
And we are back and we're talking all things Married at First Sight. We just had the craziest party for Joe. We'll insert some footage or whatever the case may be. But we had it was Joe's Casino Royale birthday party. Honey, how was it?
I thought it was amazing. It's amazing that we are even able to sit here and do this today, because it was far and beyond anything I could have expected. I think my wife went way too hard.
Were you surprised?
I was absolutely surprised. Like I always like everything that Zar does is always great when she's playing stuff because she's such a great planner.
Thank you.
But I didn't expect it to be like that. I mean, to me, it was the best thing ever. Shout out to any of our family.
Yes, we was a house full. It was like 10 of us in this house.
And I don't know, because of the magnitude of it, I don't know how we would have did it without all of our family.
I know.
And friends here helping out. So shout out to them too.
Yes, for sure, because it was big.
Yeah.
It got to the point my brother-in-law was like controlling everything.
Yeah.
He was the DJ. He was paying the vendors. He was doing this. He was doing that. He is just so shout out to Ryan holding us down. Shout out to Fatima and Salima always holding me down. Shout out to Brittany, Ebony, Jazz. Y'all are the ones and not the twos. I just it was really a fantastic weekend. It was nice just to hang out with our family. It was nice to party. But when I tell y'all on Monday, I slept the entire day. Didn't I, babe?
Yeah, she did.
Everybody left. And from the time everybody left till 8 p.m., I was asleep.
She really was. And I wish I could have joined her.
I was knocked out. He got to prepare better, y'all. Joe don't like to take off from work.
Well, I couldn't this week.
Yeah. So he
I
had
got
the
a whole
deadline.
thing that I'm doing, so it was nothing I could do.
But it was a great time. So if you need me, it was my first experience. I know we're opening this up. We're gonna talk about Married at First Sight, but we're gonna talk about us for a little bit. It was my first experience as a Real Housewife of Las Vegas. I'm claiming it. I'm manifesting it. It was my first event. And when I tell you I put on an event, the text messages I got the next day.
It was amazing, y'all. I told my niece was texting me today, and I told her we should have videotaped it. I said that's the only thing we
should have got a videographer.
We should have had somebody videotaping the whole thing. Because when I tell you, it was, I don't even know where she got some of this shit. It was a pool table. I mean, not a pool table, a poker table downstairs. It was baccarat tables upstairs and some other stuff.
It was roulette. It was blackjack. We had lingerie. What was it? Lingerie dealers, bartenders, hostess, like a lady when you walked in. So I was not playing, okay? Because I'm trying to solidify my space in this Las Vegas world, okay? Your girl's trying to be a socialite. So I had to let them know, hey, she's here.
Right.
So it was a great time. I hope you enjoyed it. We needed it. We needed the party. And it was fun. It was nice to have everybody dressed up and hanging out with us.
Yeah, it was definitely the best. I told my niece today, actually, it was the best birthday that I've had. I can't remember anything topping that. So I if y'all follow us, you've seen the messages and my thank yous and pictures and stuff like that. But I want to thank my wife again for throwing that. I mean, just all the effort that went into it. It was too much for me. So I was really taken aback by everything and everybody that showed up. And thank everybody who showed up, if anybody is watching this and showed up, because everybody, obviously we have a theme. We don't do nothing without a theme. So we don't do
nothing without a theme.
And a dress code, and everybody was dressed, and And you know, I appreciate y'all putting on y'all fineness and showing up.
It was furs and mix. It was sexy.
Yeah, it was. The only thing we failed at, we should have had 4 video cameras.
We should have had. That's
like,
my only thing. And I really, because even Ryan walked up to me and was like, "What are you doing? This is the perfect night. We need to be recording this whole thing." And I'm like, "Ryan, I know."
Yeah, it was one of them things. Like we should have videotaped that.
But I wanted to say this. I had this whole speech for my husband, or whatever, for his birthday, whatever the case may be, something light. But I just wanted you to know, like, I know I'm over the top on your birthday and everything like that, but it's primarily because we didn't spend a lot of birthdays together. So, having these moments, I'm almost feeling like I'm paying it back. You know what I mean? Like, and now I'm rich. I got money now. So it's easier for me to do, you know what I mean? These big extravagant things or whatever the case may be. So that's why I do what I do. You know what I mean? So I'm saying all that to say my birthday is August 30th. I have a question before we open up, but if you've been listening now for about the last 10 minutes or so, do me a favor, bust down, subscribe to this channel. Don't cost you anything, okay? Come hang out with us from time to time, because I'm going to be asking y'all questions. And the question of the day, somebody just asked me this, and I thought I wanted to respond with you. I think I have an answer.
Oh, okay.
But I want to see how you feel about this. Somebody asked me today, what does it look like for a woman to prioritize partnership? Like, how can you tell a single woman prioritizing being in a relationship and seeking partnership? How can you tell?
This is easy to me. It is.
It's easy?
Yeah, it's pretty easy. It's focusing on team. Focusing on we instead of I. Focusing on the collaborative unity of you and another person, and everything being built on that foundation. What you are desiring, the action items, your standards, your requirement, all of that being built around partnership and team and togetherness. And I think that in today's society, that's what's lost in so many relationships, especially on the women's side of things. We were just talking about this the other day, where it's like everybody listening to these podcasts that's saying it's all about you. What can you? People lead with what can you do for me? So it from the rip, it lacks team. It lacks partnership. Partnership it's not a singular thing. It's not a singular word, right? You can't have partnership when you're only interested in what one half of the partnership can do for you, right? And so being a partner in a team is and that's whatever it looks like for you, right? So it's not, because it's easy for people to say, I want my man to pay the bills. Your man should pay the bills. On a basic level, it's always reduced to that. And partnership means so much more than that, right? Partnership is actually the dance. To me, it's actually the dance of all of these things, a microcosm of things, whether it be the dance between finances and whether it be the dance between, emotional support, mental support, familial support, business support, career support, all of these things. It's a dance. Who's operating from their strengths and vice versa, right? So if you're better at X, Y, and Z, partnership is you handle X, Y, and Z, and I handle this. You do that, and I do that. It's a dance, right? It's a tango, and you can't tango by yourself, and it's not a partnership if only one party is doing all the dancing and doing all the singing. That's not a partnership. You're just a background singer at that point.
What does that look like? So if we're in a group of people and we're talking, right, and some of these people are single, how can you tell this person is ready for a relationship?
Well, you can't tell it from a group setting, because a lot of it to me is intangibles. It's when you get in that relationship. What are you requiring of your partner? What are you bringing to the table for your partner?
I'm asking this question because if I'm single, because this is person who asked me is a single person who is out in the world, and they're just trying to figure out, am I showing up a certain way where I may not, and I'm assuming this person did not say this, but I'm assuming this is the angle, right? or this is an angle. This might not be the angle. This is an angle. When you're out in the world, do I show up as available and looking for, or is that something that you have to solidify after you've met someone?
That's what I'm saying. I think you need to, those things to me can only be confirmed and solidified after you've met someone. As far as showing up and taking it from face value, that's in your speech, how you lead. A lot of times we watch these shows where people sit down and they interview the person. To me, you're already leading with the opposite of partnership, right? Like, you know, that can't be I'm hiring you for this job. To me, that's a singular mindset. And so somebody coming from a partnership mindset is already turned off by that. You know what I mean? It should, even the initial conversation should be a song.
I think the issue.
Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. And we're going to get to Married at First Sight, I promise. Because I really want to dig into this, because I think, and I want you guys to start sending us questions. And I don't think this person knew that when they sent me this message that I was about to start filming. So, but I do want you guys to start doing this and asking just questions like this, because I think this is a good one. So when I read it initially, my initial thought, I asked for more clarity, just a little bit more color, because you know me. But when I initially thought about it, I think about how open you have to be. Like I tell, the biggest part of my journey as a woman was that I went on like 50 first dates. And I could exaggerate and say I went on a first date with like 50 men. I went on 50 first dates with 50 different men at the end of that term. And then it was just like boom, 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 and got married, right? So I'm saying that because I remember how open I was. I was so okay with being single, right? I was hurt about it at first, and then I just was like, you know what? You're single. You're a bad bitch. I was a young socialite. I was a young girl then. I was a young socialite. And I was just like, you know what? I'm going to lean in. And I leaned in, and I met some beautiful people. And I met some terrible, terrible, terrible humans. And I met some people who were on the spectrum. For sure. And I think that one of the biggest things that I took away from that, even now, I always tell people, like, you have to be open. Like, it might not even be what you want it to be, but there is something about laughing and feeling good and looking good that other people pick up on. You know what I mean? And they might not pick up on the, you know, partnership aspect of that, because I also think partnership is so curated to your partner. So what works for this partnership may not work for another partnership.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's just being honest. And you might have boundaries in your partnering. However, I think being how you show up and being open and being curious and being doe-eyed and being ready, I think that's another thing. And this is just what I was going to respond with, and I'm going to send this to the person, but she's probably going to watch this too. I said she's open. She's not ashamed of being single. This is not her stop. You know what I mean? This is just a moment in her journey or whatever the case may be. And she's not rigid. Sometimes you talk to people and it's so clear that what they're looking for is not partnership. It is affirmation in themselves. And there is something that happens when you are completely affirmed by who you are. Like, you just are completely like, you should be like drinking my bath water through a straw. Okay? That changes how you show up in the world. And other people kind of like gravitate towards that. And I think that that's a woman who was just so understanding. Like, one, my presence is a present, but I'm of the belief yours is too. You know what I mean? I'm of the belief that I can be in the presence of a present. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I think sometimes when we're talking to the opposite sex, and sometimes because, you know, we all watching the girls, we all watching the people and all the podcasts and everything like that, it gets a bit rigid. Yeah. And it gets hard lines are drawn. And the truth of the matter is relationships don't have hard lines.
Right.
Your entire relationship is gray area. You might have boundaries, but when I mean you got a short list of boundaries, it'll be like, that's it. And everything else is malleable. And that's what relationships take. It takes somebody, it's Play-Doh. It's literally whatever you want it to be. So I don't know. I would tell this woman the first step to all of this, to knowing that this person is ready, is really a sense of self-affirmation. I think a lot of times we say we bad bitches and all the stuff like that, but then it be when doors are closed where we do not feel that way. Mm-hmm. But you got to really believe that. Like, you got to believe that not only am I an asset in business, in finance, at work, I could literally create an empire with somebody. You know what I mean? I hate kingmaker talk and all that bullshit. But I just think that it's gotta start there. Like, you gotta know you're supposed to be. I just knew I was young, and I just knew I'm supposed to be somebody's wife. I'm a date, and I'm gonna have fun, and I'm gonna let them run it up, and I'm gonna be flown all over the world. And then somebody's gonna be like, you know what, little girl, I want to marry you. You know what I mean? And that's what happened. And I think that it all stemmed from me being open. And I think that you got to be open with what looks like, feels like, smells like, sounds like your spouse. Because they will not come the way that you think they are supposed to come. But you got to come 100% affirmed in you. You got to love on you. Because people can tell whether or not you love yourself or not. And to this person, I was thinking about the conversation that we had a few days ago. I think it was on Monday. I was thinking about the conversation that we had on Monday about someone maybe potentially coming back into your life. And I would ask you to think, are they knocking on the door of the person who is affirmed and understands her worth or not? I would just want to leave that with you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
Let's dig on into Married at First Sight. Finally, let's talk about Emily and Brennan. I'm saying Emily and Brennan first because same old, same old. Brennan had a lot of advice for a lot of people this episode.
The situation with Emily and Brennan is actually part of my frustration with how they filming the tail end of Decision Day and all of these extra episodes. We don't need advice from these friends that everybody got that's telling them how great they are and how nobody made a mistake. Y'all don't need those type of friends. The lack of accountability that's flying around in these friend-to-friend interactions is really it's running amok, and I'm overseeing it. I really don't need to see any more of it, number one. And then number two, we got the wrong people giving people advice. Brendan's marriage failed miserably. He's literally the last person on the show that a married man should go to for advice. Why is he sitting down with Michael and anybody else who will listen and advising them on decisions to make for their marriage?
And 100%, that first of all, that is 150 bazillion% the truth. And the issue I had with this entire episode was that y'all are hanging out with miserable people,
yes,
who are newly broken up,
yes,
expecting to get some sage and sound advice. And I find that to be, it's and let me, this is controversial. You want a hot take? Okay. That's what we've been doing all weekend. All weekend I've been saying, y'all want a hot take? Not that I don't believe, there aren't very many single people I'm taking advice from. That's number one. I would take advice from a miserable married person before I do a single person.
And I'm gonna tell you, that's not up for debate in my mind. It's not even close.
That's a hot take, okay?
It ain't hot to me. It's sound to me. And it's hot to y'all, and I think it's only hot to the people who don't know. When you know, you know.
And let me give you another example of this. For me, it's like I don't have children, right? So
I mean, officially, but
I got babies. Yeah, y'all know I got a bunch of babies, okay? But
we got kids.
We got kids.
And the kids know who they are.
Exactly. And the kids know they're my kids, okay? But that's so true. But I am not a mother yet. But I don't know. I will be talking about what it feels like to birth a baby with a girlfriend who does not have a baby.
1,000%.
And I'm talking about that not to say that they could not give me parenting advice because they were once a child. They may be a child. All these things. I believe that. Now, I believe that. But there's certain parts of it that I just don't think you would even be qualified to have a conversation about. And I think that sometimes you get so used to being, so because I'm a woman without kids, I operate like a woman without kids, right? So sometimes when I'm speaking to people who do have kids, I'm giving responses that are, I'm like, oh, no. You know what I mean? But they're mothers. Like, and they have to think about things from all these different angles. So I respect that and understand that I might not have the capability or capacity to understand fully what they're going through.
1,000%. 1,000%. I think that's a perfect example. I have a hard time talking to people, not talking to people, I'll say debating with people about music because it's such a widely exposed a thing in life all across the world. The one thing that almost everybody has in common is they listen to music. One type of music, the genre and the type is endless, right? It may not be music that you understand the language to. It may not be music that you like, but because it's so widely exposed, a lot of people think that they have the expertise in whatever music that they're exposed to. Just because you listen to music doesn't mean you know the music industry.
Right.
And I find that a lot when we having conversations, and a lot of them start off fun, but then people start trying to tell you who's the better singer between Brandy and Monica, and you like,
and why Kanye West is a genius.
And why Kanye West is the genius.
Yes.
And the people who do music in the room are like, I can't do this. Like this is not fun no more because y'all don't know what the hell y'all talking about.
But not just do music. I think classically, I think there's something about the longevity of being in partnership and in relationship with somebody that corresponds with how you have to hone your craft. Because it's a lot of people in music.
Because that's the part too where it becomes almost offensive because for the people who do this every day, imagine sitting in front of somebody, and like I said, we really only do this with things that we are widely exposed to, right? People wouldn't sit down and debate a doctor about how surgery happens.
1,000%.
Because they're not, but because they listen to
even
music.
though we do know somebody who did that before.
Oh, yes, we do. But because people listen to music, they watch music videos, they watch the shows, they watch the Grammys and things. But imagine sitting down and talking to somebody when you do this every day. And they try to debate to you the ins and outs of how things go and what things do and what do, and you're like, yo, we can't have this conversation. You don't know what you're talking about. Like, you know what I mean? So I think the same thing goes for when we talk about married people who is married every day.
Yeah.
Not people who watch Married at First Sight or people who watch love shows or people who watch married people on reality TV. Yeah. It's very different when you walk the walk and you do this every day. There's so many intricacies and so many. It's funny because we had this conversation with her brother Jamal. Shout out Jamal. And we do random heated debates all the time in our house.
Let me tell you something. At least once a week.
And shout out to Jamal. But one thing me and Jamal had a disagreement on was I said to him, there are things, because we were talking about Cat Williams, so it kind of sprung from that. And I said to him, we as a whole, even when you section off the industry, right? The entertainment industry can be one as a whole. But then within that entertainment industry, there are different silos, right? So I say both of us can say that we work in the entertainment industry as a whole. But you're a barber and I'm a musician. So there are little things and little nuances that you, even working in the same industry, wouldn't understand about the musician community and vice versa, right? Because I don't know all the gatekeepers of the hair industry. I don't know all the movers and shakers, but on the music side, I do this every day. Yeah. So I know names that you would never know who they are. I know gatekeepers that you would have never met and come in contact with. And he was saying, well, it's all the same. I'm like, bro, it's not all the same. Especially when you do this every day, right? And so that's the big part, especially when you get down to the I went to school for it. It can't be all the same. I spent 4 years studying music.
Yeah, no, you spent much longer.
I actually spent much longer. Yeah. My high school was a mini version of my college.
Your middle school, your high school, yeah.
So you working in the industry, in the entertainment industry, will never be on the same footing as far as expertise, right? And so we was talking about that. And so that was my point. And so when you are getting advice from people, you have to, I don't understand how you can't agree with the sentiment of, I would rather get advice from a miserable married person than a happy single person.
And that's not true. And I want to be clear. Like, that's no dig on being single.
It's not at all.
Because we had to be single to be here, right?
Right.
So that's not a dig at all. I just know when I was single, my threshold for what I put up with was very different. My wants were very different. My needs were very different. How I sought to get them fulfilled was very different. And that's because I was coming from a space of I. You know what I mean? Like, me and Joe talk all the time. Like, that's not yours, it's ours. Like, we're talking to each other like that all the time, right? So when you live in a space where you share a life,
and I don't mean share like we live together.
No.
I mean legally. If you are signing a piece of paper, if you're dealing with a court, it's legally shared. That's a different place. That's a different vibe, a different experience, a different energy. And so I think that that's important too, because you, as somebody who has not been in that situation, you don't even know what that feeling or that energy is like. It's not just living with a person. You know what I mean? Because to me, that's tantamount to saying I watch pilots all the time. I can tell you how to fly a plane.
Right. And I think that's also the thing. Like, I think that's why I don't like when people who have been, because I believe I don't have any problem with people who are in long-term relationships and don't get married, right? But I also have a threshold by which I would listen to you.
1,000%, because it's still not marriage. I don't care how long y'all live together. You still were never married, it's still not marriage.
But it's not even just that, Joe. I have a standard of commitment for myself that you may not recognize for whatever reason, which is perfectly fine. But because I have this standard of partnership, I don't know that you could, standard of commitment. The commitment and expectation I have from another person is just a notch, not above, but past where you may be.
Yes.
And I don't know that I can listen to you.
It's just true. Like, you wouldn't go get car advice from somebody who's never owned a car before.
But I think
you know what I mean? You just wouldn't. So this has to be understandable.
But I think it's got to be said that it's not a dig. Like, I love.
It's not. It's just reality.
Love. And I want more single people who want to be in relationship. Like, if you're just single and living your life, cool. Be around single people, right? But if you're single and you want to be in a relationship, I think it's best that you're talking to people who are married.
1,000%. And all things being equal, stop getting advice from miserable people. You know what I mean? If there's two couples and one of them is miserable and the other isn't,
just go to the one who's not. Right. Because I'm saying, if there was a difference between a single person,
right. And I'm saying all things being equal, because the one thing that has really shown up and proven itself to be factual in my later years in life is that misery absolutely loves company.
It's true, because when I'm sad and upset, I want him to be sad and upset too.
You know what I mean?
And I don't even know why.
It's just a human
I don't know
trait.
Why.
I think it's just a human trait. And so you sit down with, in front of these bitter, miserable people in their romantic relationship, in their romantic lives, and they telling you just leave. Let's look at it as just as a social experiment. Whenever we watch all of the ladies sitting on Married at First Sight and giving advice, it's almost always just leave. One girl we watched the other week, the one girl was literally trying to lobby the other women to say no on decision day.
It was in Claire.
Do y'all remember that?
But so they're going to do think pieces on Claire. Claire is a cult leader. I'm almost of the belief. I'm almost of the belief Claire is Lauren's backbone. And that's why she refused to get back with Orion. Because now they all could say, I think they're trying to make it a case for what Claire has a vendetta. Mm-hmm. It is very, very clear she has a vendetta. What's weird to me is that she's talking about the show like there's not cameras on it.
1,000%.
Girl, we're watching it.
We can see. You and Cameron have been broken up for weeks.
And it's not because of Cameron.
And it was never because of Cameron.
And it might have been partially, don't get me wrong, everybody plays a role, right? But it's not because of Cameron.
It's just not. And it's like we were there to see it.
Right.
Y'all have been broken up for weeks. So now we get to decision day and post decision day, and somehow Claire is the victim. She gets around all the other ladies.
Yo, I don't even understand.
She a victim just like everybody else. How did this happen?
Literally, how did this happen? And that's what I'm saying. So, like, I really find it. Claire is really, to me, one of the scary. She's like a wolf in sheep's clothing. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like we know that even with the Brennan and Cameron thing, with the double date, Cameron only told her that like in conversation.
Yes.
It's equivalent to when Chelsea on Love is Blind spewed out that Jimmy had sex with one of his friends.
Right.
It's just like I would never do that.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because there's some things, my husband tells me everything.
Right.
So there's some things I just now have become a vault for everybody because I have to be a working vault for my husband. Those certain things I don't even my girlfriend, I remember, who was we talking to? And she was like, oh, you didn't tell Joe about that? And I was like, no.
Yeah.
But that's not because I don't tell my husband everything. It's that I understand what's our business is our business and what's your business is your motherfucking business.
Right.
Okay? And I thought it was too much tea for me to be. It was like the tea was too piping hot. I'm like, no, somebody might really air me out for spilling this one. But like in real life, I think it's something to her being a cult leader, her curating everybody else's experience.
And misery wanting company. I
don't even think the scariest thing.
I'm divorced and upset and angry, and I want all you Jones to be divorced and upset right along with me. So I feel like I have some justification.
But you know what it feels like to me? You ever watch a movie or like a superhero thing, and the parent dies? Right? But the child is a baby, and now the child is grown up, and they're avenging their father.
Yes.
It almost feels like
every Marvel.
Claire has a vendetta that didn't start with her.
Yes.
It feels like it's so deep-seated
yes.
that she knows somebody who was a part of this process in season 2 who got screwed over, and now she's like, we're going to get them and we're going to expose them. You know what I mean? That's what I'm getting.
Yeah.
It was too much of a concerted effort for Emily and even Becca. Because
I was about to say, Becca's doing it too. It's this thing of like, once Becca decided that she wasn't going to be with Austin anymore, everything from her skewered negative too. You should leave. You deserve
I
that.
couldn't even believe it.
You know, this was the positive reinforcement on the show.
She ain't said what he lied about yet. What did he lie about?
Situation with Becca.
He ain't said what he lied about yet. But that's the thing, right? When you're talking to single people, if you're talking to a happily married person who ain't your mammy tat mama, they will be like, be fucking for real. What's going on?
1,000%. That's
like, let's be
even
for real.
more of the reason to make sure that things align from people that you're talking to, because when you marry and extensively so, you already have proven that you have a certain stomach for certain things, certain challenges. You're built differently, and you move in the world differently. Your barometer for what's acceptable and what's not acceptable, what's possible to work through and what's not, is very different from somebody who's just dating. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because the other thing is, talking about the feeling and the energy of it, there's a lot more on the line. As soon as they say, I pronounce you, whoop-de-whoop, you're now in her family, she in your family.
Yep.
Some people have kids. Some people have businesses tied up together. Some people have property tied up together. So now there's more at stake, right? So even that is a different energy and a different feeling to walk around in the world with.
Right.
As a single man, I didn't walk around with the same responsibilities on my shoulders as I do as a married man. Just that alone it's a very different feeling. You know what I mean? So it's the intangibles that I think people don't talk about either. People just think, well, I lived with my boyfriend for 10 years, so we married by New York state law. Like, no. Girl,
no, would it be that ain't it? What it be for me is like, it don't feel like nothing is different.
Well, yeah, right.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think that's a misconception for people who aren't. I don't think everybody's getting married.
Right.
I don't think everybody's going to be in love.
Right.
Hell, I think more people are not going to be in love than those who are together out of, some sense of partnership and or necessity.
I agree.
You know what I mean? I don't think everybody's meant to be. I don't think that's for everyone. You know what I mean? And that's primarily because love requires a certain vulnerability that everybody is not capable of
and
giving.
a certain humility.
And a certain humility. You know, I hate that word, but a certain humility. But it's true, right? Like, you know what I mean? I think it's something to, like, feeling like something is bigger than you. Mm-hmm. That's love.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what it is. It just feels bigger.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think, I don't know. I just feel like Claire is just a terrible human being. And honestly, Cameron should have left her funky dog head ass on red. I wouldn't have said nothing to her.
A long time ago. And
he just a nice guy for responding.
And that's it, and that's all. And the fact that she pulled the BS that she pulled, wanting to be a part, to go back to Misery Left Company, wanting to be a part of the group, wanting to go with the group, when they was at the little cookout or whatever they was at, and she was, everybody throwing shots at they man, I'm finna join in. Cameron, yeah, you was trying to control me too. Cameron, like, what?
Cameron couldn't even, Cameron almost reached across the table.
He was aghast.
He was literally.
He could not believe.
He said, whoa.
And neither could we. But this is Misery getting caught up in the wave. You know what I mean? Yeah. Are we all throwing shots at our spouse? I'm here too, ladies. And it's like, that's what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? And now because she's adjacent to it, now she's a victim too. You know what I mean? And it's just like, we have to time out for that, because also there's cameras involved in y'all situation. So you just can't pull the wool over our eyes and make us believe that you're the same type of victim that somebody else on the show is. That Emily is.
Emily is actually
because Emily is the really only victim to me, so I had to figure.
She really is. Lauren got her dogs done, Myra style, with whatever her friend was.
We was kept putting them corns and onions on.
It was a little cornish.
We didn't need to see that with the whole.
It wasn't. It was weird.
I'm good. We get it. They at the nail salon.
But she said something that I thought was so poignant. So shout out to Lauren for giving us the title of this episode, which is Married at First Sight, Divorced at First Fight. And I want y'all to know, I can't remember nothing. So the fact that I brought that downstairs with no notes, I should be proud of that. I better know them ABCs. But no, I think that I'm proud of her for moving on. I am kind of sad. I'm not going to lie. Something about Lauren and Orion I liked. And I hold on to that. But I do think that she is right to move on. But I do wonder, in Denver, did she find some black men?
She absolutely did, because they exist, regardless of what the show tried to tell you. But also, this was long overdue. They were, and I've been firm on this since the beginning. When you could rewind the tapes, I've been firm on Lauren and Orion not working out from day one. So this is just the chickens coming home to roost for me. And the annoying part for me is just that there was this constant thing where they had to be in the same room. And and then he's saying things because she there and on camera. So he like, yeah, let's be friends. And then when they get off camera, Lauren's like, well, I've never heard from him. Because it was for the cameras. Y'all was never going to be together in the first place. Just like I said, y'all was never meant to be. Just like I said. God. So why are we surprised when the cameras turn off and Orion's like, peace, I'm cool. I was just doing that for my PR situation. Like, that's why I've been saying for weeks, let's move on from this. Let's stop making them film and stuff together. Because Orion was only doing the BS because they were filming together. So this is really on production too. You know what I mean? Stop putting them in the same space and he trying to figure out what to say. He like, yeah, can we talk about, doing something past today? And then she like, well, he's just not consistent. Of course, because y'all don't film consistently because you are no longer together.
Literally. You've been not together longer than you even ever known them.
But that's it too, y'all. Why are we having these big emotional conversations for people who was together for 2 weeks?
Well, I don't think Lauren necessarily was. And I think that this was good to see because I felt like it was pretty lighthearted.
No, they were. Okay. They was giving them the scenes where we had the whole couples retreat where nobody is a couple. Let's go outside and have you
Nobody was a fucking... Oh, I'm sorry, y'all.
Let's go outside and have you guys talk in the field together.
I can't.
And people is crying and holding hands and... Y'all... This is not you would have thought they was together for 20 years. The way everybody need closure for a 14-day relationship. How did we get there?
That's
what I mean. Like, we don't need to be doing this. And I get it. Y'all have to fill a quota for time and episodes. But we passed that because we're really, in my mind, we really only still filming because Michael and Chloe have not gotten to decision day yet.
Right.
So we can cut out all of these single and divorced people that we forcing together in order to kind of keep the episodes
But
going.
the truth is, y'all could have cut all this out and just fast forward them to decision day.
Yeah, because really nothing is going on there but Michael trying to self-sabotage his way out of this
talking
this
about
marriage.
how boring it was, I yawned.
That's true.
It took me right back.
Freudian yawn.
So Becca and Austin are literally not together right now because nobody's telling Becca to grow the hell up.
That's true.
Grow up. Unless you found that man with his Peter in somebody's mouth. Okay? And the lie
But she acting like she did. That's what's annoying to me about the situation. That's why I'm telling Austin to run for the hills. Because she's acting like she saw him in between some legs.
But the truth of the matter is, she's acting like that because he's not in between her legs.
Oh, I see what you did there.
You see what I did there?
Yeah.
That's really why she's acting like this. The problem is sometimes,
the lack of
guys,
sex do make you do weird things.
I'm telling you, Joe gets mean.
I don't get it.
No, yes you do. Joe get mean. Joe don't got no time for me.
My patience does wane.
I could tell because I could take it weeks. I be living a life. It be going on 3 or 4 weeks. I be like, making my way downtown. Joe be slamming dishes and doors.
Well, there y'all cannot listen.
Stomping feet.
Out here
I ain't lying.
Yes, she is lying.
Y'all, this man gets so.
I get shorter. I do get shorter, and then I notice it.
Then I be like, you all right? But it's the thing, you want to feel close.
For me, it's not even a want, it's a need.
Right.
Physical touch is intimacy is my thing. And I mean intimacy, not just effing. Like intimacy is my thing. You know what I mean? So.
But intimacy is my thing. I just see intimacy like we could be doing this. And he'd be like, enough talking, ho.
Yeah, because intimacy is, for me, is sharing intentional time focused on each other. Because we can be sitting down together watching our shows. But if anybody been around us, while we doing that, Zara is on her phone. She's scrolling through TikTok, or she playing a game, or she answering a text or email or whatever. That's not intimacy to me. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Ooh, we having a therapy session right now?
Well, this is not new information. But it's not intimacy to me. You know what I mean? Like if you go to the movies with somebody and the whole time they on an iPad, you don't feel like y'all sat and watched a movie together. But there was no focus or intention on the one-on-one connection. So that's intimacy to me.
Do you feel like that's something I need to work on? Like if being present?
I think being present is something you need to work on. Our times of intimacy, to me, I think we are typically intentional about that, because it might not happen when we're at home on the couch, but we'll go to the bar. This is the reason why people just be buying this stuff, I think. We'll go to the bar and we just locked in, we chatting. That's intimacy to me.
Okay.
Because she's not at the bar doing this.
Yeah, yeah.
So we talking about our day, or we talking about somebody else's day, or we talking about, you know what I mean?
More is probably somebody else's.
Right, but that's intimacy to me. We just locked in with each other. We're not effing. We might not even be touching. But that to me is intimate. We have an intimate conversation. You know what I mean? And so that's a part. That's why I say that, especially the misnomer that for men, intimacy is just pounding away, and it's just false. Like, it's just not. Like, you know, there's a spectrum of intimacy. The physical aspect is just a part of it. The conversation is a part of it. The other things that go around it. There's a whole diaspora of things that go into that. And I think too often it's just reduced to just physical.
Right. But I think Becca's issue is just
the physical. But
she said, so let me say this, y'all. As a woman who has for certain dated men on the spectrum, and I'm not sure, but I am sure, okay, these mother jumpers were underdiagnosed. I think, and I don't want to put this on Austin, so y'all just go with me here. She said something about Austin not making eye contact and stuff like that. She was like, can I just get some eye contact? I think that Austin might be a little socially anxious.
And I think she's talking about when they're fucking.
Do you think they are, F you? Checking?
I think she means in moments of
I thought they didn't.
Right, but I'm saying in moments of foreplay and going for it and kissing and all of that, I think she's saying like she is the person who needs constant affirmation. So I think when you're not like, you're beautiful, right?
I need that too, though. And you don't say it enough.
But no, here's the thing. Here's the thing. There's levels to it. Everybody needs it.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to know that they're loved and they're wanted and they're valued and blah, 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 blah.
That's true.
The people who constantly need it are the issue. You don't got to tell me every day that you think I'm fine and you love me being your. You don't have to hear me. That's not true. Because talk about mean. She just be randomly like slamming doors and it could just be Tuesday. I'm like, what the fuck? But anyway,
you got to keep people on their toes, Joe.
But the people who constantly need that that's the issue. And I think that was the whole, like, I need you to stare me in my eyes and gaze at me every day. That's draining. Sometimes life is lifing. The basement could be falling apart, and I just got to figure out why the blinds don't go up. I don't have time to be figuring out, did I stare? Did I gaze in her eyes today? Like, you know what I mean? That's just not real life.
You better be trying to figure that out. How about that?
And I can't figure that out and also figure out how to keep the house standing up.
So let's talk about Michael and Chloe. Why Michael don't like this woman, y'all?
Zar, let me stop you there, because I'm feeling like I'm gonna regret to inform the people that the Chloe bullshit and gaslighting is working on Intezar.
What do you mean?
I mean, just a couple weeks ago.
Are you about to pull up receipts?
I just want you to hear something that is only from a couple weeks ago. We sat right on this couch and we talked about so many things, so many issues that we had with Chloe. This is a snippet of it.
Many issues with Chloe. We talk about being triggered between her and Lauren. People just use words. Yes. Y'all must be stopped.
Yeah.
Talk about being triggered, right? Something about Chloe gives me, she called the police on a black person for barbecuing by a lake.
Yeah.
Her passive aggressive spirit, which bothers me to my core, because I think that you can be assertive, you can say what you mean without dogging somebody else out. It's unfortunate because you all paired this vanilla white Wonder Bread Strowman ass hoe with this man who is obviously more dynamic than that, and that's what is weird to me.
Okay, so this is the same all last night.
Drama.
All last night, Zara's like, why is Michael doing this? What do he mean? He questioning the relationship. I don't understand. Whoop de whoop. Why don't he like this woman? Zara, this is the same person who said let me cook. Right. Because all season long, she has gaslighted this man. She has been so phony and fictitious that shout out to Dr. Pia. She called it out to her in a session. Talked about how inauthentic she was, which I said in the same TikTok. So y'all can go back, make sure y'all following her TikTok. In the same TikTok, I said she oozes inauthenticity. She oozes it.
Make sure y'all following our new Instagram page as well, Joe and Zar. Yes. Joe and Zar on Instagram and TikTok. Go.
She oozes it. She's been so phony. In the same TikTok, I said she's the woman that if she tells you her favorite color is blue, you got to second guess that because you don't know if she's acting or not, right? Then she sits up there the other week and tells Michael that she wants to live on a farm with a bunch of injured animals and adopt 5 delinquent kids. Y'all can't tell me that this wasn't a ploy.
She did not say delinquent.
Yes, she did, and that was not even a joke. I don't remember. Yes, she did. She didn't say the word delinquent, but she said something to the fact of
like those who need love.
I want the kids who have been severely damaged. Like I'm summarizing what she said, and Michael was like, we can adopt 5 kids, but they got to be damaged kids too, like, you know what I mean? So, and to me, that was an act, right? So if you watch Curb Your Enthusiasm, I made a reference to when Larry David, the episode when Larry David said, I don't like when people sit next to me, so if I wear a MAGA hat, they just won't. He live in LA. He like, if I walk around with a MAGA hat, nobody's gonna want to sit next to me, right? So he's in his own little way, he's allowing them to make the decision not to like him. Chloe's been doing that for weeks, and it was it basically climaxed at the point of her talking about how she won a big ass farm with a bunch of injured animals and 5 delinquent kids. So I don't know how we got to the point as of last night where Zar is confused as to why Michael is trying to backpedal his way out of this relationship.
As much as I am a city girl, I'm a city girl before city girl was even a thing. I am a hopeless romantic, and I thought something was.
But they never had romance. They never. It was fake to the point where Dr. Pia called it out. They never had romance.
Well, it's funny because I felt like in the moment I felt like she was more mad at the whatever is implied by them not being real than just not being real. Like you're more mad that you were called out about it, not that you just weren't being real.
Yes, I agree.
Because then you had all this smoke for him about his mom not knowing and all this stuff like that.
But then
like
you tried to make it as if that was the reason why Dr. Pia called y'all out. So then she's gaslighting him at the kitchen table. The reason why Dr. Pia called y'all out is because you yourself, Chloe, is inauthentic and have been the whole time. And I said we can go back from the first time that we saw her. We literally sat on this couch and talked about how fake she was. So my summary is that I think Michael has just got to his wit's end. You can only play the fool but so long. You can only go along with this, oh, okay, we love each other and we're having sex and we're in. But that's Chloe. That's how she was doing the joint. You know what I mean? So you can only fake the funk but for so long before you're like, and I think Michael sees the end coming. He's like, okay, we about to be at decision day.
Michael walked into a mini mansion and was
like me. And so I think that
he thinks she don't like him.
We know she don't like him. That was part of the fake part about their whole situation is that she touching him like this. Like we know that you don't like this man. You was disgusted by his sense of fashion. You really don't like his personality, all of the things, right? And so now when we get close to decision day, she doing the whole Larry David thing. I need to live on a farm and adopt 5, delinquent kids.
That is like a big thing. First of all, experts, that's a big thing for somebody to say they want. Like, did she say this in her interview? Because y'all should have asked her out there.
No, she said this to him, and now it's acting like she's surprised that he's having reservations. Come on, you would never meet somebody who even if you did. Let's go with it. Let's say you genuinely want to live on a farm with 1,000 injured animals and also adopt 10 delinquent kids. Let's go with that. Let's say that's been the desire of your heart since you was 12 years old. Let's go with that. In the event that you met somebody who you were really into and actually wanted to stay married to, you would never lead with that. You would never lead with that. You would proceed with caution at first and be like, let me find the time.
Let's see what they want.
1,000.
I want him to say yes.
Why?
She's grown on me. That's really my only reason.
Y'all can play the TikTok back, y'all.
And I don't know if it's because I don't think she's 100% genuine. Let me be clear.
It's the BS working on you because I will admit that she has tried to finesse the audience much better than other people has.
I mean,
but we got to see past it. We have to see past it because the one thing that's been consistent is she's been doing it since she got on camera. Yeah. Since they brought her on the show, it's been the same phoniness. And I think it cannot be lost on us that Dr. Pia just called it out a week ago. A week ago, she was like, this feels fake to me. I just want y'all to tell the truth.
She did, and that was awkward.
So I need you to remember that.
That was good therapy. Like a good therapist will tell you something ain't right.
Right.
You could either tell me or we could just, you're going to waste your money. But
that's why we have to be on one accord.
I had a therapist
at wanting Michael to be released of this because she never liked him. And I'm not the biggest fan of Michael, but I don't want nobody to be with somebody who's been BS and gaslighting.
But you know what, though? I think this might be the difference between Michael and Chloe and Becca and Austin. I think that because they are now intimate, it is changing how she is looking at things.
Honestly, I don't believe that. I think she's an actor. I think she's been acting since the time she got on this thing. And I think this is really a page out of Claire's book where as we get closer to the end and we get closer to decision day, I want to change the narrative so that I appear at the end of this. I want to change the narrative so that I come out the victim. if we don't end up staying together, it's the Larry David effect. I want you to break up with me so that it looks like you're the issue. Michael is not the issue.
It is.
Michael's not the issue, nor will he ever be to those who know. If you've been watching this from the first time that they got on this, shout out Dr. Pia. She's been fake the entire time. So Michael not wanting any part of this anymore, not wanting to move in together, all of that is a result of this.
The problem I have with it, I think, is that nobody is just saying what it was. The issue, and this is like a reoccurring theme for like all of these couples, nobody's just saying, this person was ugly, this person was fat, this person is this, this person is that, right? So then you could just understand how we got here. It feels so vague. It feels so like what's happening, even though to your point, she's kind of had a little bit of a track record. But it does feel a bit like, damn, Michael, she done turned it around. What, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What more do you want from her?
The truth of the matter is she didn't turn it around. You're right. Michael doesn't want to say what it really is.
Yeah.
But in his defense, she hasn't either.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's easy that we've all been in those arguments where, we telling the truth today? He's never even had that. You know what I mean? True. So it's like
that's what I'm saying.
But he's never even had that. So it's like I'm gonna see your fakeness and raise your fakeness. You know what I mean? And I'm cool with it.
And he might be doing it out of respect for her, but it does
he
feel...
could be, or he could be doing it out of spite. Either way, I'm Team Michael on this one because I feel like as much as I wasn't a fan of him putting on the pearls and wearing a skirt and all of this other stuff, I do think that he was authentically himself during this whole process. He was transparent and he obeyed and respected the process where I don't believe she did at all.
I'm sorry, y'all. My allergies are so bad right now. So we did it. Okay. Thank y'all for joining us. I'm your girl, Intisar Eleanor. If you are new here, make sure you follow myself and my beautiful husband, Joe, on our socials at Joe and Zar on everything. Social media, Instagram and TikTok. Why would I call it social media? I'm a millennial. It tickled me. I do that often in meetings, and then I think, Zar, you don't have to repeat the whole sentence. Like
not you being acho in meetings. That's terrible.
I be glitching.
Oh my God.
I use a lot of words. I do sometimes, and I'm like, but when I'm not sure about what I want.
And when I say acho, y'all, that was an inside joke. We talking about the boy Acho, who is he's the host of Speak, that's on Fox Sports 1 with Shady McCoy and Joy, and I'm talking about somebody who's overusing words. To say one thing, he'll repeat himself 10 times in one sentence. He'll be like, I'm going to get to you, Joy, and let me cook on this. Let me cook on this. Let me cook on this. Let me cook on this.
And since I'm cooking.
I'm not even exaggerating. Like, if you've ever seen the show, that's what he does. And you just like, there's 4 other people on the panel, and you're literally eating their time up.
And he burns me down every time. So, all right, my loves. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, TikTok, at Joe and Zar. We ain't got nothing else to give. Have a good night. Bye.